Okay, so I feel like I should mention at the beginning of this video that if you're looking for information about a new wine-themed amusement park called Viticulture World, straight up, then you're gonna be sorely disappointed. But if you want to know more about a cooperative expansion to a wine-themed board game called Viticulture World, then might I suggest... Hi, I'm Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. Today we're back with another episode of Fresh from the Cellar, where I talk about new and upcoming releases to see if they're right for you. But before we start, I have a little bit of unfinished business that I have to take care of. That's right, if you've been watching any of my latest videos, you'll know that I just finished counting down my top 50 games of all time. And as part of that countdown, I had one last giveaway that I needed to fulfill. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the comment picker. Wow, congratulations to Alex Houston for winning a fresh new copy of my favorite game of all time, Scythe. Please shoot me a note at mightissuggestagame@gmail.com so that I can get your information and get that game to you as soon as possible. Thanks to everyone who entered, and if you didn't win, don't worry, there's gonna be plenty more giveaways on this channel, especially when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So stay tuned. Anyways, that's enough about that. Let's get back to talking about Viticulture World. Today, like I mentioned before, we're gonna be talking about Viticulture World, a cooperative expansion to the classic worker placement game Viticulture from Stonemaier Games. Viticulture World is not a standalone expansion. It requires the base game to play, but it plays from 1 to 6 players in about 30 to 45 minutes per player. In this video, I'll give you a quick overview of the game, I'll talk about the things that I liked about it and some of the things I didn't like so much about it, and then talk about the people that I think would really like this game. If that sounds good to you and you want to see some more board game suggestions, why not hit subscribe and that little bell button so you can get notified when I post new content. We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, and any little bit helps, so thank you in advance. Anyways, let's get to it. Will Viticulture World be the perfect game for you? Let's find out, shall we? Viticulture World is a variation on a theme that takes a lot of really important concepts from the original game Viticulture and brings them to the cooperative space. In Viticulture World, you'll all be working together over the course of 6 years to get your individual score markers past 25 and your shared influence token above the specified threshold. Because of these dual objectives, sometimes the game can feel a little bit semi-cooperative where you have to decide whether to take actions that'll benefit you or that'll benefit the rest of the group. In each scenario provided in the box, there will be a different event that happens every year. Some of these events are beneficial to the cause, but some of them also represent hardships that the original winemakers might have gone through. One of the main changes in the game is that the board is a little bit different. The board is still split up between summer and winter actions, but some of those actions are slightly different. There are a few new actions included for each season, but the main difference is that the actions don't start with any bonus spaces. That means you can start taking those actions right away, but they won't be that efficient at first. However, there is a new way to make these spaces more efficient, and that is the innovation tiles. Each year there's going to be a few innovation tiles that are revealed that will give you the opportunity to upgrade some of the actions on the board. Some of these innovations will make the actions themselves more powerful, and some of these innovations will give you different bonuses when you take that action. Now the tricky part is those innovation tiles, they cost money. It's losing money! Which means that you have to be smart about what personal buildings you make and what innovation tiles you make, because there's only so much money to go around. Something else to note is that the innovation tiles get thrown away at the end of each round, so if you don't use them, you lose them. Now, besides the adjusted spaces on the board, the other main change is the way that the workers are treated. Unlike in the regular Viticulture, you'll start with 5 workers, which means that you'll be able to take a lot of actions right away. However, there is a catch.
You see? I knew there's a catch. There's always a catch.
Most of your workers are going to have these little hats. And you may be wondering, Alex, why are you saying it like it's a bad thing? Those hats are amazing. To which I would say, I agree with you. I love those little hats. But they're not just for decoration. If your worker has a yellow hat on, that means they can only take actions in the summer. And likewise, if your worker has a blue hat on, they can only take actions in the winter. Now this is fine at the beginning of the game because you probably want to split your actions evenly between the two, but as the game goes on, you're going to want a little bit of versatility, which means that you'll have to train these workers. Whenever you take the train workers action, you'll be able to take a hat off of one of your workers. I know, that kind of sounds like a downgrade, but you can try to put that hat on your little pinky finger and draw a face, and you'll keep yourself entertained for the rest of the game.
The gang's all here.
Anyways, other than versatility, the reason why you'd want to train workers is because untrained workers will not be able to take the bonuses that you'll get from innovation tiles. So yes, you start with hats and you're gonna have to take those hats off if you want to take better actions. But you'll get to keep those hats in your supply and remember all the good times you had. Anyways, other than the board and the workers with the great hats, there's a few other minor changes with some of the different cards that you can draw, but for the most part, the rest of the game should feel very much like the original Viticulture. So, now that you know a little bit about the game, let's talk about some of the things that I really liked about this game. Alright, let me take a look at my notes real quick of things I liked. It just says hats, hats, hats. I mean, the gameplay's great, but we all know why we're playing this game. We just want to put little hats on our meeples. I think more games should incorporate hats. I think all games should incorporate hats.
Then he stood up and said, "I've never fought for anything in my entire life. I'm fighting for this hat."
To be quite honest, whenever I post pictures of this game with the little hats, that's the only comment I ever get. People love the hats. So, all you board game publishers out there, take notice, because the world wants more hats on their meeples. Anyways, other than the hats, which is honestly a pretty big draw, I'd say that the thing I like most about this game is there's a really good tension between trying to do actions that'll benefit you and trying to do actions that'll benefit the rest of your group. With the addition of the upgrades and the innovation tiles, this really makes you have to manage your money well and decide whether you need that extra cellar or if you want to make your actions a little bit more efficient. Having to make those decisions as a team every round felt really important and made the game feel like it had both momentum and purpose. I also really liked that because of the shifting of objectives, where you're now working together instead of working against one another, some of the original visitor cards that are a little bit mean in the base game are now cards that are really good in the cooperative game. Take the visitor card, the Motivator, for example. This card says that all players can retrieve their grande workers, and for every player that does, you gain 1 victory point. Now, in the competitive version of this game, this one presents a really tough decision. But in the cooperative version of this game, this one's a no-brainer. Not only do all of your teammates get to get their grande worker back, you also get a bunch of victory points. I liked how the perspective on those cards shifted because of the cooperative nature of this expansion. I thought it did a great job of breathing new life into a classic game, and I've really enjoyed our plays of it. Now, that's not to say there aren't a few caveats that I will mention. So let's talk about a few of the things that I didn't love about Viticulture World. The first thing I feel like I should mention is that this game takes a lot longer than you would expect. In my plays of the original Viticulture, once people get things planted and start to have a little engine going, the game can get over pretty quickly. But in Viticulture World, because there's a lot of hemming and hawing at the beginning of each turn to try to decide what actions everybody needs to do, the game took a lot longer than I expected. Now, I know that cooperative games can be different for different groups, and some groups don't care as much about solving that efficiency puzzle.
I know. Weird, right?
But unfortunately, I'm the type of person that always likes to optimize no matter what game I'm playing, and so the strategy discussion before each round actually felt like it took longer than the round itself. I think with more plays, the decision time might go down a little bit, but I would still say that you should expect this game to take longer than it says on the box. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is just a little gripe, but I found that it was kind of hard to track your progress throughout the game. Now, obviously, there's a scoring track and an influence track, and you're moving up on that throughout the game, so as long as you're paying attention to that, this might not be your issue, but I felt like it was kind of tough to tell whether or not we were doing well at the beginning of the game, or if we needed to pick up the pace before we got to the final year. As it happened, in the last time I played, we thought we were doing great, and then we got to the last year and we realized there was no possible way we could complete our objectives. I wish there was some sort of benchmark that we could play against to know whether or not we were on track or if we needed to really kick things into gear. But I suppose that kind of happens if you just play it a bunch of times. All in all, though, I think that Viticulture World is a really cool reframing of the original game, and despite its flaws, I still think this is a solid game that I'd have no problem recommending, especially for the hats. So anyways, let's talk about the types of people that I think would really like this game. Here's the types of people that I think would really like this game. If you like to enjoy a glass of wine with your board games and let the conversation and the strategy flow from there,
glass of wine, little guitar, just relaxing,
then I think you're gonna like this one. If you like games that let you make history, or find efficiencies, or just wear cool hats, then you should definitely check out this game. And if you're just looking for a cool cooperative expansion to the classic worker placement game Viticulture, where you can make wine and make friends all at the same time, then might I suggest Viticulture World. Thanks so much for sticking around for this episode of Fresh from the Cellar. I hope you learned a little bit about Viticulture World and it helps you make your decision whether or not you want to play it. I'm always looking for new games for this series, so if you have any ideas in mind, drop them below in the comments. I love hearing from you all and I really look forward to seeing what you would suggest. Anyways, thanks so much for everyone who supported this channel so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can keep growing this channel and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.